Seems I came at a bad time.
No, I think you couldn't have timed it better.
Yeah, it was really interesting there. Welcome
Having
everyone
trouble
to the
hearing
stream.
Mackenzie though.
Good
I
morning,
hear
good
you now.
afternoon, and good evening. Welcome, and welcome Morgan to the stream. We are today going to be doing a special program on Genshin Impact and Honkai. I have my guest here, pointing the right direction there, is Weber, who is my mod and also a fellow Genshin Impact player. And we're going to be talking all about the lore about Genshin Impact as well as Honkai. So it looks amazing. Yeah, I can't wait. This game comes out at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 25th, and I've got it already ready to go. I've got my Asia account. I'm so ready. How are you doing today, and how excited are you about this upcoming game?
I'm pretty excited. So I will not probably be streaming this game, but I will definitely be playing in my free time. I downloaded both versions, the PC and the phone version last night, got registered. Now, I chose the USA server, so we won't be able to co-op because I do not like lag and all the things. But that's fine. We'll both be in different servers. We'll have a different experience.
Yeah, exactly. And from when I played the beta, there really wasn't too much of a co-op experience that there was allowed anyway, so I don't really think there's much that we'll miss in regards. But if it comes to that we need something, I can always create a USA account, have two different accounts. It's one that one I stream, which would be the Asia account, and then the US account that I have is alt. I do that with Genshin, except that I have two USA accounts. I should have one Asia account, but
yeah. They actually matched me for Europe as the best connection, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no,
that's what they did.
You're just looking at what time it is.
Yeah, they did the same thing to me. Let us talk about Honkai and Genshin, get everything started here. So it is very interesting about how much that Mihoyo did say when they first announced Genshin Impact that it was going to be a game that was part of the universe of Honkai, and they kind of indicated that it was its own universe within Honkai. So it shares the same universe, but it's kind of like a bubble. And actually go back to Norse mythology, and let's kind of talk about where it is right now in Genshin Impact in regards to Immersal and their tree, and let's start with that. So you had some stuff you wanted to share, Weber. Was it in regards to that, or was it something in regards to the Sumeru quest?
Well, yeah, let's just start with some lore that we can talk about from Genshin's world. So there's a lot of theories and there's a lot of stuff, but one of the things that's been concrete in the recent updates is that there's this tree called Irmisil. Now, Irmisil is it's like a computer. It stores all the history, everything that ever happens in the world of Sumeru and the world of actually Teyvat properly. And if there's actually a game mechanic associated with it, where you go in and cleanse these ley lines and cleanse these trees, and it gives you memory of things that have happened in the world in the form of artifacts and books and items and mora and all this stuff. In the recent Sumeru Archon quest, though, what has happened is we have found that there was a disease of forbidden knowledge, things that didn't belong, things that were not of Teyvat, which lived inside the tree. And that disease was causing people to get sick. There's this disease called Eleazar, which causes people to get these scales on their body, and they get really, really weak, and they eventually die from it. And we find out in the quest that this forbidden knowledge, this dark power that actually manifests in this purple and blackish energy in game, was corrupting the tree. And part of the goal of the Sumeru Archon quest is to find a solution to that. And it's been plaguing the people of Teyvat ever since before the current Archon and before her ancestor to this gentleman named King Deshret. And King Deshret somehow got access to the forbidden knowledge, and he got the quote-unquote wisdom of the stars, and he used it to create the fantastical, the beasts, robots that can turn invisible and fly and shoot laser beams, and there's all this stuff that is so foreign to Tavat sword and shield and bow type combat, but that all of Deshret's technology was just vastly beyond. But unfortunately, that knowledge did something to destroy his society. And all that is left of it is ruins and deserts. And then that carried on into some other kingdom, this kingdom of Kenria. And so this other kingdom was seen in game videos and things like that. And it's kind of a central point. They create these giant machines that look like, robots with all these moving parts and glowing infinite energy. But they also attack indiscriminately and destroy people. And there's something evil in their nature. And that society was destroyed 500 years ago. And the game takes place in the aftermath of that. And that dark, forbidden knowledge energy is a persistent problem that all of the characters in Genshin deal with. And so that's the baseline for how this world connecting thing, but we don't really know what it is other than from the perspective of Genshin players, other than it's from beyond the stars or beyond Tavat or somewhere else, and it doesn't belong. And somehow the traveler can do something with it, but she's also from beyond the world of Tavat. But we don't know why she can, and she doesn't even talk about it. She just can touch these things. They're corrupted, and the corruption just disappears.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Morgan. He says, this is so informative. I love this. Yeah, this is exactly what this is all about here. And really what everything Weber says is completely true. This is, for what Genshin Impact is that it's not just a game that is story driven, but it also is a game that is very collaborative, and that it works so much with the Honkai universe, and it almost intertwines with that. But one thing that we haven't spoken of is how this all began. And it came down to two characters that one has been seen in Genshin Impact and the other one hasn't made an appearance yet. I would suppose that she will at some point make an appearance, because she has made an appearance in pretty much all the Honkai games up to this date. So I just would assume that she will show up. And that would be Kiana and Siren. And to start off with that, I want to introduce these two characters. They were the protagonists. So Siren is a character that is similar to the Traveler in the aspect that she was in a world where she was by herself, all alone, and all she wanted was a mother. That's all she ever wanted was. And unfortunately, she was manipulated and experimented on. And because of this manipulation, it corrupted her mind, and she was able to find Kiana and convince Kiana that everything bad that ever happened was all Kiana's fault. She's the reason that everything has gone bad. And it eventually gets to the point where she corrupts Kiana as well. And so I want to start off with a big scene of how the very first Honkai game, now this is a decade ago, how this game concluded. And you can start to see some of the relevance of today.
What's the plan for food?
So you can see there is this kind of correlation between what we know as the unknown god. Is Kiana gets completely manipulated, she becomes the Hersher of the Void, and she goes all out on Siren and ends up destroying the world. And it resets itself right at the end. You see as the two little stars come down. It comes down and you see the world.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it restarts itself all over again. Now, for those who are from my stream specifically, you guys jumped in like midway to the game, so you never got to see the beginning of Genshin Impact. So let's take a look at the Unknown God, which lots of us Honkai fans believe, and I mean that video right there pretty much to me confirms that is the Unknown God, because her design is almost identical. And we do know for a fact that the voice actress for Kiana is voicing the Unknown God in the Japanese version. It's not in the English because, unfortunately, Honkai was never done in an English dub, so that was never done. However, the English actress who plays Chi-Chi in Genshin Impact does the Kiana's voice, or the Hersher of the Void's voice in Genshin Impact. So let's look at Genshin Impact and that opening. So what you're trying to say is you fell here from another world? But when you wanted to leave and go to the next world, your path was blocked by an unknown god?
Outlanders, your journey ends here. Who are you? The sustainer of heavenly principles. The arrogation of mankind ends now.
Now, in this version, we are going to assume that you took the role of Lume, who is the female version of the Traveler.
Ether!
And just like that, the god took away my brother. Some kind of seal was cast upon me, and I lost my power. So while we used to travel from world to world, we are now trapped here.
So you can kind of see where there is this correlation between both the Hersher of the Void and you have the Unknown God and Kiana. There just is no doubt with the similarities between the two. They have the same mannerism. They have the same way they both use the box. They both have the capability of destroying the world. In fact, the part that we see could possibly be Celestia. I'm not really quite sure, but that same background has been shown also in Honkai Impact, that same exact world and scene. So who's to say there? It's something very interesting in that aspect too. So the next part that I want to talk about is where we currently are in the stream with Samara, where we had this gentleman that we came across with Alhadim, and he had this like red orb thing, and he completely lost his mind. Do you want to take over here, Weber?
I was just going to say, I was really struck by the similarities in the motifs, the star stuff, all that Like, I had never seen that footage either, and it's so similar to the Sustainer that like every little nuance of her is there. So that's very interesting. I just want to make that comment. I was like, wow, that's really similar.
Yeah, that's where I was like telling you, I'm like, it's pretty much confirmed. It's Kiana.
That's a very interesting.
Its question is, when is this for Kiana? Because Kiana is she's very more of a sympathetic type of character. However, whenever she becomes the Herrscher of Void, she essentially loses herself. She normally does not have gold eyes. She normally has blue eyes. And there is a scene that I want to show is how that really can affect and lose completely, how she loses her mind when she becomes the Herrscher. But going back to Samero, we came across, Alhainem came across, and the Traveler came across a person that had this item that the Academia, had lost. And suddenly he has this red orb, and we watch this character in front of Alhainem just lose his mind. He becomes ultimate strong, and you're kind of like, what the heck's going on? He almost essentially becomes a zombie.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have that scene from YouTube to play, or?
I don't have that particular one, but I do have the one from Honkai where same thing happens to Kiana. So we can use that.
Let me share the video. There is a published version of this video.
Oh, cool.
I'm gonna send it to you really quick and have you send it or have you play it, and then after you play it, let's go ahead and talk about what we know about this. Oh,
yeah.
Gosh. So let me paste this in chat. So let's go ahead and have you play this video, which is the scene we're talking about from Genshin.
Perfect. Oh, yes. I do remember this here. Perfect. I'm so glad you found it. And yeah, this is a big, significant scene, too.
The stage while you work this out. So essentially what has happened here is the Traveler has worked with Alhaitham to find this thing called a knowledge capsule. It's a crystal that when interfaced to this little computer sticks knowledge directly into your mind. And so they've been tracking down this like God knowledge capsule, excuse me. And so this God knowledge capsule is very coveted, but everybody's like, we got to get these under control. Nobody can handle the quote unquote knowledge of the gods. And this is the scene where we find the guy who actually has it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what this scene's going to be. I'm going to adjust the window because my window is a little bit the wrong size here. So I'm going to adjust that. So, yeah.
Really?
If you have something else you want to add there, Weber, go ahead.
No, that's yeah. So that's really all people need to know to kind of contextualize this. Is this big guy has the god's knowledge in this capsule, or presumably has used it, but we'll see what happens when he does that.
Exactly. And it's very interesting how you'll see the correlation between this video and the Honkai video, where you'll see the similar thing happens to Kiana, she is the protagonist in the Honkai universe. So let's go ahead and take a look at this to remind everybody who may have not seen this before.
All right.
Academia scum! Boss! Finally! Did you use it? Great! Now we can... Boss? Boss! What's wrong?
What happened to him?
We have to cut his Akasha connection, now.
Target acquired! Arrest him! Do not impede our work. Is that understood, Alhaitham?
Of course. I was only trying to help.
Take him away!
World, forget me.
And why that is so significant is that also, that's not the first time that we heard the world forget me. There was another time too, and it happened with the original Samaro Archon. And I want to welcome Pocket into the stream. Welcome, welcome. How you all doing today? We're talking some Honkai and Genshin Impact and the significance between both of the games here. Here we just watched where Alhaitham watched a character literally turn himself into like this superhero type of zombie-like guy, and nobody understood what happened to him.
Yeah, so getting back to this. So that red capsule that Alhaitham kind of slips into his coat as he's walking in, that is presumably the capsule with the forbidden knowledge. Also, a little bit of interesting lore that most U.S. players don't know it. That world forget me phrase is heard in the quote-unquote statues of the seven, which is kind of like your main teleport point. It's also where the traveler gets her power from the gods. So the traveler can go to these locations and kind of steal the power of the local deity to like cast elemental skills and things like that.
Yeah.
So if you get close to it in Chinese, only in Chinese, there's this distant voice saying, "World forget me," as if there's some sort of thing or connection to that forbidden knowledge and that phrase "world forget me" inside the statues, which are directly attached to Irmisel. And they're kind of like the avenue to Irmisel, and so that's a little more extra background for that. Unfortunately it's not in the English track. You have to switch to Chinese and no Chinese to hear it.
And you have to have a headset on because I could not hear. He sent me the clip. Whoever sent me the clip, and I could not hear it. So but you have to put like a headset on, and then you can hear it. But it's you really have to listen for it to be able to hear it. So from here, so we've seen now this elixir is what they've called it, where it's this when it's the world trying to keep humans from gaining knowledge of the gods, and that is the elixir ends up infecting everybody. It happened in Honkai as well, the very first game. I don't know if they called it elixir back then, but the tail and face, ow. That happened there as well in the very first Honkai game. But also this power is connected to the Hershers, and I want to show a scene that actually comes from as my cat has decided to turn on my window capture. She's just pause is being paused today. I want to show a scene actually from the window in my Windows capture, where it has to do with a scene where that's right, get that cat alert in there, where in this case it is the Kiana is losing her abilities. She, in this particular scene, she again, and this is like the second version of Honkai, where again she meets Siren and again completely goes ballistic, because when she takes on the Hersher of the Void personality, she essentially can't control herself. So I want to show that scene and how she literally just loses herself. So notice the blue eyes. And in this particular scene, it's not Siren that she's going after. She's attacking actually a character that shows up in Skyrim. So isn't that something there? There again, we see the similar thing that happens to Kiana, where she completely loses herself, becomes a Herrscher of the Void, and just goes crazy on her friends. And she completely has no idea what's going on with her. I also want to welcome Green into the stream, who came in while we were checking out that clip. So what's your reaction to that, Weber? I'm thinking this is probably your first time seeing that.
Yeah, wow. Just wow. That was absolutely amazing. You hear we're having some, I can barely hear myself in the audio. Yeah, that was just, it's like, I presume that's like the end of the world for that, for that whole reality, right? And the fact she talks about being the Honkai in the Honkai, excuse me, and also the like the whole thing about humanity and attacking humanity and humanity as a threat, just like humans time ends now or whatever the sustainer of his heavenly principles said. So yeah, that was definitely, there's some strong connections there. The just like her gestures and her like snapping and her like bringing up the portals and stuff like that. It's amazing to see this like themes and the nature of her character reflected in both games. Also, the dragon is interesting too.
Yeah.
So something about the Genshin Impact world is the original Genshin Impact world was ruled by a primordial god. Now, we don't know what happened specifically to the primordial god, other than it split into 4. One of those became the god of winds, and the god of winds split into many little threads, one of which is Venti.
Mm-hmm.
So Venti is the last little piece of the primordial god. And Venti's one of the archons. He's the first archon that the player is introduced to. So, but the other things is after the primordial god fell, according to the lore in Enkanomiya, which is an optional area in Genshin, is there were dragons that ruled the world. And there were seven dragons of the elements, so one of each element of the Genshin world. And then we find out this patch that there was actually an 8th, which is the king of dragons. And there was a great war, and the archons overthrew the dragons. Some dragons were killed, some were subjugated, some actually made friends. So like Venti made friends with the dragon of the wind, who's Dvalin. And you actually open the game, Dvalin has been corrupted by this dark purple energy that makes it like rampage and try to kill all the people. And that it's actually the traveler's objective to work with Venti to purify Dvalin, the dragon of wind, so that it will be back to being Venti's friend and, good old cats. And so that's like the first objective of the player, is to remove this purple brain-rotting corruption from the Dragon of Wind. And then later we find out that the corruption in this other dragon called Durin. And Durin is gigantic, like this mountain-sized dragon that had attacked everyone during incident that was 100 years ago at the fall of Conrial. Then we find out that dragon was created by the Conrial folks, and it went rampant. It started doing all this horrible stuff and killing everybody, and its claws and teeth embedded inside Dvalin was what caused Dvalin to go crazy. We actually pull those corrupted teeth basically out of Dvalin. And Dvalin killed Durin, I think again, and its body is moved across this mountain called Dragonspine. And Dragonspine is in perpetual ice. There's this supernatural cold that suppresses everything there. And it appears to be coming from this pillar, this nail, that is seen other places in Celestia, but looks like a piece of Celestia, which is where the unknown god was seen in the first scene. And so the unknown god presumably sends these nails to the surface to suppress things, to contain evil powers or something like that. And there's actually several other places with that. And then we find out in this patch that the King of Dragons died, but then came back. And it's my theory that comeback was actually Durin, and that the Conrians used the forbidden knowledge to reanimate the King of Dragons, but it went nuts, and it started killing everything. So the kind of the themes of these dragons and and how they interlock with the story. And to finish the story of the dragons all gave up. And then we have the 7 archons, who are they were tasked with continuing the heavenly principle. And that the heavenly principles are the thing that the unknown god was talking about, the rule, the laws of Tabat. And all the archons, their job is to sustain that. But they don't all like their job. And so there's an ongoing plot point that the sustainer is their boss, but they don't necessarily like their boss. And many of them are like giving up their powers and trying to get away from the role of Archon. We don't fully understand why. We just know that at least 2 of them, well, actually, at this part of the story, 4 of them, don't actually have their powers anymore. And they've given it to this other organization that challenging the heavenly principle. And that organization is the only of the 7 nations where the leader is human. Like the Queen of Shiznai is explicitly a human. She's not a supernatural being. She's not a dragon like Zhongli or like a branch of Irmisil like Nahida. She's a human, and she uses technology and human ingenuity, and she is trying to challenge, quote unquote, the heavenly principle, which presumably is the unknown god, and that's another part of the overarching plot of Genshin.
To bring this into Star Rail, I want to take a look at the character who, in the last scene, we saw fighting for her life against the Herrscher of the Void, and you can see how she was just basically brought to her knees. She was really not able to do much. And that is the character of Seili, who is going to be, and it's very interesting that we also have Seilis in Genshin Impact, but they're not an actual physical being, at least doesn't appear to be at this moment. They're these little things that float around that you follow, and then they get you to a statue type of thing and light up, and you get a treasure chest. That's essentially what they do there. But there is also, in this case, we have a character. It's called the Uneventful Knight, and I want to take a look at that. So we take a look at the actual character of Seili, who will be in Honkai in the Star Rail.
Here they come again.
Quick, don't let her get away! It's a dead end. She's done.
Making trouble on Wildfire's territory? You guys got a lot of nerve. Still here? I'm afraid things just got complicated. Sometimes a sharp blade is the only way to get people to come to their senses. Did I ask for your help?
Looks like you could use it. Let's make this quick.
Don't tell me what to do.
There's always a weakness.
How about this move?
Now for the one that slipped through the net.
Stop holding me back, Overworlder. Disappear among the sea of butterflies. Illusions of the past!
I am so excited about Seili. Now, the other character that showed up in this trailer that looked kind of a little bit like Kutching, that was actually Bronya, where these 2 characters were in the very first trailer that I showed from the very first episode of Honkai. In that case, in what these 2 are essentially are connected as their lovers. And in the very first Honkai game, Seili gets herself in a situation where she gets taken over by the Honkai, and there's really no there's no way to get through it. And Branya decides to sacrifice herself for her best friend, or her lover in this case. Hey, old gamer Jean, happy Sunday. And so that's what Branya ends up sacrificing herself for her friend. And so she becomes, in this case, she dies and gets reborn. Seely, though, doesn't like the fact that her best friend here has sacrificed herself. And so she becomes Dark Seely. So Dark Seely has a version of her that's similar to the Hershira Void, and goes and then ends up going to save Branya. But unfortunately, both of them do end up dying again in the Honkai universe. So essentially, in this bubble universe, it seems that majority of the characters that are there that are from Honkai Impact have unfortunately died.
And to add to the connection between Seely and Seely, which are the little guardian things that Mackenzie mentioned, and this character is, we're in ads right now.
Yeah.
We should probably hang out. But we'll talk about it because it is spelled differently, but there's a strong lore connection to them. And you find this lore connection during the Aranara quest. And I'll share with it after the ads are over, just in case.
Hello, Illusion.
People
Welcome to the
wanna look at
stream.
But yeah, we'll wait for ads. Ads. How's your cat doing, Mackenzie? Cat still happy?
Yeah, she finally settled down.
All right, so back to the story of the Seely in Genshin Impact. So during the Aranara quest, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, sorry. My volume keeps fluctuating. But yeah, during the Aranara quest, one of the Aranara, which are these little like fairy creatures of the forest, who have access to basically all the memories of the world through stories, and they tell a story of the Seely, and they said that the Seely were the former occupants of Tevat. And we don't know if they were occupants as humans or they always looked like little spirits or whatever. But they were forbidden to love humans. And there was a particular Seely who fell in love with a human. And because of, or maybe she was, actually I think she might have been the last Seely. And because she fell in love with a human, she ended up cursing the Seely people to become these spirits. And the spirits retain that love for humanity, and that's why they guide us to Tresh. They're actually like symbolism of the Seely is like I think of like the original Little Mermaid, right? They fell in love with a human, and that love failed, and they turned to mist. And that's how the manifestation of the Seely. That's like the narrative element of them. And they continue living because they love humanity, because of that love that one Seely had for a human. And that's why they continue to guide the traveler and guide the adventurers, presumably, even in like their spirit form. And so that link to these like star-crossed lovers in the Seal character is kind of the thematic consistent, that like the lover that can never find her lover because of destiny and those type of things, but then continues as a spirit searching to help and show love for her lover. So anyhow,
and that really does sound like the Seely and Branya story. It totally sounds like that. So that would make sense that the Seely spirit is probably the actual connected to Seely as she's trying to find Branya. It completely makes sense. And well, they do find each other. Looks like here in Star Rail. Will they stay together though? That's another question, because who was to say that there's not another bubble world out there yet that we haven't discovered? So yeah.
Are you saying they're Star Rail crossed lovers?
Yeah, I definitely will say that. As that has carried at least 3 different video games so far in the Honkai universe. So yeah, and I believe it's also in the manga too. So it's definitely very, very strong in there in that aspect. And I believe you had said that you had to go around 2 o'clock.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have about 5 minutes, and I'm going to hop out. So, got to keep that in mind. I've dropped a lot of Genshin lore today. I can't say all of it at once.
Right, exactly. So there's still some more things that I want to share. So I'll go ahead and spend like the next probably hour here, where I'll just ride solo and show the other characters from Honkai that are going to be in Star Rail. So since this is all really about how all the games are connected, so we can introduce all those other characters here. So before you leave here, I want to show a scene that can be a little bit difficult to watch because it does deal with with 2 characters that get killed. One being Branya, the other being Himiko, who is, between me and Weber, is the redhead, long-haired girl who is a huge influence on Kiana's character and really helps her develop and grow as the game has gone on in the Honkai universe. Let me show that scene here as before Weber has to leave here as our conclusion with him, and then I will continue on and go through the characters of Honkai on Star Rail. Let's see here. I need to bring up the other. I don't know why my window capture keeps going back and forth deciding which one it wants to feature and which one it doesn't. But keep in mind, this one is a very tough scene to watch, but it's also very impactful.
Bronya, 委員長。
一社の力を持ってないあなたはただの弱者。
彼女たちを離して。
何の力もない。
やめて。
我だけの正義感と正義。結局は人々の悪意は変えられない。醜い世界を変えられないのか。
少し。
私たちはみんな敗者。
違う。
人類はみんな敗者なんだ。
私は諦めない。
彼女たちはもう倒れた。あなたで最後だ。
絶対嫌だ。彼女たちはいつだって諦めない。今は私がすべきことをする番だ。みんなの選択は間違ってないってみんなに教えないと。あんたの攻撃は終わり。
何？
それなら私の番だ。文句ある？
なぜまた立ち上がる？どんなにあえても結果は変わらないのに。
そんなの関係ありません。キアナはバカですから。バカは諦めません。ファイヤー！
彼女は私をたくさんの人を変えました。これからも多くの人を変えていくでしょう。その日を見届けたいから。だから私たちはここで止まったりしない。
あなたたちの理想は実現しない。だって世界は最初から美しくないんだから。違う。美しくないのは当たり前。でも諦めちゃダメだって。世界はそんなにひどくないって教えてくれる人がいた。私は彼女たちを、彼女たちが愛する全てを愛してる。この剣は私たちをつないで真っ暗な空を燃やし尽くし、光をより彼方へ届ける。これが私とみんなの帰り道だから。Wave goodbye to the past when love was late at a time. For me again to start about this world. To move it away, still the void and brightness of the sun. Some deserts this planet were ocean.
Zero says, so cool. Yeah, I got the game preloaded. Very exciting. The Honkai games are some of the coolest actions games to exist. Yes, and these here is the reason why I believe I need to throw in Honkai Third Impact into my streams, because there is just so much correlation, and I'm very interested more now into Kiana's character and how she becomes this Hersher of the Void, to the fact that she throws her travelers into Genshin Impact in it. One of the things, though, that one of the reasons why I shoved the scene, even though it's so difficult to watch, is when Kiana is tied up and Branya and her friends are also tied up and they get literally ripped apart. Is this happened to the Traveler's twin? In the original beta version of the game, there was a scene where it's actually, it was in Chinese, I believe, and it's Venti telling the story of the Traveler, saying that the Traveler had been tied up and had been impaled. So we know that this same thing has happened now to the Traveler sibling as well. And that could be partially maybe why they turned themselves. It's very possible. And what was your reaction to all this?
So what I took out of this, so I mentioned the Kingdom of Snezhnaya. So the Kingdom of Snezhnaya is one of the 7 kingdoms in Genshin Impact. And they're the kind of antagonists of the story. They're the human antagonists of the Traveler. So the organizational structure of Snezhnaya is they have these people called harbingers. Each one of them is given a piece of the gnosis, which gives them godlike powers. And we actually got to meet all of them through some videos, but probably don't need to watch. But the one that of note, so they all have names based on characters in the classical how do I put it, like vaudevillian type characters, right? There's Scaramouche, there's Balladeer, etc. There's Doctore, there's Doctor. Well, one of the characters is the Marionette, and her name is Sandrone. She's the 7th Fatui Harbinger, and she presents as a woman, very downtrodden and sad, wearing a maid outfit. similar but not exactly to the marionettes that she was fighting in that scene. But also, Sandrone also is accompanied by a giant robot that carries her around, just like the giant robot in that scene as the antagonist. So there's this theme of this marionette, strings controlling puppets, and she's also the creator of Catherine's. So Catherine's are our connection to the Adventurers Guild. They're the people you go to, well, people that you go to every day as part of normal gameplay to collect for commissions, to get jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And it was revealed in the recent Archon quest that those Catherines are actually puppets. They're artificial human robot things, which there's actually several of in the Genshin Impact world, which can have a will of themselves, but they're usually just like programs that do things, just like the Raiden Shogun is also a marionette. But Wanderer is also a sort of a marionette, but Wanderer has a will of their own, and they've risen beyond just being a puppet. But these puppets are something that's in all of Genshin Impact, and to the player and to other people, they seem like normal people. They have elemental powers, they talk, they think, they have a will, like Wanderer or like even Raiden Shogun. And so there's this theme that in the Genshin world, it is possible to create artificial humans. And those artificial humans aren't just like automatons. They're actually thinking, feeling creatures that can do magical, powerful things. And so there's this theme in Genshin that artificial creations that look just like normal humans are just part of the story. And I think that segues really nicely into where Mackenzie is going, but I'll let her take that, and then I'm going to have to duck out pretty soon. I'm a little beyond my time.
Yeah, I think you're really spot on exactly where I'm going. And Moonlight says, super exciting, beautiful, but sad scene that gave Kiana their power. Exactly. That is one of the one thing that Genshin, or I should say Honkai has over Genshin, is their big, elaborate scenes and the way that they are able to develop the protagonist, where we are still very young in the Genshin Impact universe, so we really haven't had too much character development or opportunities really with the Traveler, but I'm sure they're going to be coming there. So with this,
it's a 20-year game.
Yeah, exactly. So we got time. We got definitely time there. So what I want to do is look at Himiko and Rania, who were featured in that particular last video, and we take a look at them, and then
so I gotta go. Yeah. I have dumped as much Genshin lore as I think anybody's heads can be filled with.
Exactly.
Come to later streams and I'll talk more about Genshin lore, because I know a tremendous amount of it, but it's overwhelming sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Thank you for hosting me, and I will see all of you around. I am really excited to see this video put up on YouTube as well, because I think this is very, very cool. And I will catch the tail end when that happens.
Thank you very much for being here, Weber. Look forward to seeing you on stream tonight. Based on what we have seen here, this is the reason why I believe a lot of people from Honkai universe who are fans who I spoke with at the last Comic-Con said, you know, you really should play this game too alongside Star Rail and Genshin. I kind of see why. After I started doing the research and putting everything together, I'm like, oh yeah, and I want to know more about Kiana's story. That I'm very intrigued, and her character, especially how and when, is really, for me, is the question is, when is Genshin Impact taking place in the Honkai universe? Because we know that Kiana becomes the unknown god, but I can't really tell when she is the unknown god. Is this prior to this whole scene with Himiko and Bronya being killed, or is it sometime in the past before this all happened? Is it in the future? Hard to say. So let's take a look at, in this case, looking at the Everlasting Flames and the Star Chasers, what they would call our Himiko, who has unfortunately died several times in the Honkai universe. It just seems to be that just seems to be her fate. So let's take a look at her and learn more about her character. And bring up that and make sure I'm on the right one, because I have to keep jumping between two different Honkai screens for some reason. I don't know why. It just keeps it keeps wanting to change things, so I have to jump between two different window captures here. Okay, let's take a look at this.
There are endless possibilities and unknowns among the stars. Our journey is the process of pulling apart the threads of possibility to seek the final truth. I am Himiko, the navigator. Welcome to the Astral Express. The Express doesn't have a clear destination because every passenger's destination is unique. I'm sure we're about to embark on a fascinating journey together. I have something for you. Combat is a series of precise machinations, one at a time. Humanity never conceals its desire to control the heavens. I'm no exception. Trailblazing means that every step we take is a step closer to the stars. That is my answer. And your trailblazing journey has just begun.
Okay, well, since they don't have anything there for let me then feature Japard instead, who is a character that works alongside Branya. And he has a little bit of, in a way, he has a little bit of a Dainsleif kind of feeling to him. Let's check him out.
I'm a captain of the Silver Main Guards. To serve the Supreme Guardian is my responsibility and my honor. Belobog is this planet's last bastion. And the Silver Main Guards are Belobog's indestructible shield. You will know justice! This ends here. I'm here to the end. Only by becoming a shield for the people is one worthy of the title Architect. Trust must never be betrayed. Hopes must never be squandered.
He's a character I never got to play in the beta. I saw him, but I never actually got to play his character. He's one I would love to play, as well as Himiko. That's another character that I was not able to play. Though, when this game does go live on Tuesday, because there was enough people that pre-ordered, Mihoyo has decided that they are going to give us Serval, who is a character I did get to play in the beta, and she is very cool. She is a character that is electro. She uses a guitar, and it is so fun. That is Japard, and he does kind of a little bit of he gives me a little bit of a Dainsleif vibe, so it'd be interesting, especially with the golden hair there, seeing if whether or not he might be maybe a reincarnation of Dane. It'd be very interesting in that case, because sometimes what happens in the Honkai universe is characters will be in one universe under one name, like the Raiden Shogun in Genshin Impact. She's known as the Raiden Shogun, but in the Honkai universe, she's known as Raiden Mei. So it's very possible that that might be Dane. Who's to say? It has a completely different name. In that case, it's possible. It might just be a coincidence that he has similar attire and similar clothing and happens to be a commander. It goes to say in that case, but he definitely is one that I am interested in playing. Speaking of characters that have made their way from Genshin Impact over, I think, or from another universe, and have their name completely changed, would be March 7th. And she is a character that, let's take a photo, is what she would say. And let me bring her trailer up. In the Honkai universe, she's actually known as Elysia, who is a very, very significant character and is actually on the current banner right now in the Honkai universe. But she will be playing a big starring role in this game. And let me actually introduce this character to you guys.
Whoa. I'm gonna take pictures of everything that's new to me. That way I won't forget about them. Huh? Hey, wait for me! Ooh, huh? Huh? Pom-Pom's gonna love this! Hey, over there! It's... You guys came for the snapshot, huh? Take this! These poses. Don't you know how to look good for the camera? Well, here's your chance to learn from the best. Say cheese! So, what do you think? Hey, focus! Smile! I'm gonna keep our first photo, all right?
So you may have, if you're familiar with the character of Elysia from Honkai Impact, you may have caught something in this particular trailer, and there was this crystal. Like her counterpart in Honkai, March 7th was found in a crystal, and she has no memory of her past. The same thing happened to Elysia. So it is very interesting how they both have that same background. Whether that's going to play a very significant role, it's kind of mysterious there, but the fact that both of the characters have that same background, even though they have not confirmed March 7th to be Elysia, I mean, to me, it's pretty much like the same thing as Kiana being the unknown god. It's just, there's too much evidence there to show otherwise that she wouldn't be Elysia in this case. And I do see that our ads are running, though I think everybody that's in here, I'm just gonna verify here that have made some comments, are subscribers, so this should not affect anybody. I don't believe here. Yeah, no, that should not affect anybody in this case, except for our lurkers. But in case there are some lurkers, there's about 30 seconds left on the ads. In this case, I'm going to point out in the middle, which is next to Bronya and diagonal of Himiko, is our new traveler in this game called the Trailblazers. And it is believed, though not confirmed, that these Trailblazers are our travelers from Genshin Impact, even though their hairstyle is a little bit different. The game itself, when I played the beta, was very heavily full of waifus, so I am going to be playing as the male traveler, And I will be going with the theory that the travelers are the trailblazers are our traveler, so I will be calling him Ether, assuming that that theory may be correct. But one of the things that's interesting about our twins in this game is that they have something inside them that can cause and activate the Honkai and destroy everything. So it's interesting that now they have the power versus just a Hersher coming in and just going and destroying everything. So that will be interesting to see how that plays into this game and how will that affect everything in the long run. Let's see if there's anything else that I can throw in here that might be interesting in this case. I wish that they had a character one for Bronya because she's a really fun character. However, let's see, Serval. Let me bring in Serval, who I mentioned before. She is the character that you'll be able to get on day one when you start to play the game. And let me introduce her.
Keep up. I move at my own tempo. Sound waves like dynamite send signals sky high. Streams of thunder make you lose your mind.
Yes, she is free.
Heartbeats will shake me so rules can't break me. Crank the sound and let your soul be free. The lightning strikes writing off the wall. Let yourself fall into it all.
Yes, she is a character that you will be able to obtain for free on day one. So that will be someone you can have in your party if you choose so. You'll also have access to March 7th. There will be Dang Hang, who is this gentleman that kind of has a little bit of a John Lee type of look to him. Welt will be also in the game, he plays a very significant role in the Honkai universe. And then we've got Kerfall, who is behind in the very back there. Let's see if I can bring up any other character ones. Especially, I actually want to show again that I've done on my stream before, but showing a little bit of a preview of, in this case, being Dan. And using the Gamecom Nightmare trailer, because there is a theory that I brought up that I think that he is Dan from the Genshin Impact universe that was helping, in this case, helping Dane and trying to get everybody out of Conria, but unfortunately he turned into a monster before he was able to do that. So I want to show his trailer and showing that something's definitely going on with this character. And that might be, it very well could be, our Dan from Genshin. Yeah, he does definitely have a bit of a John Lee look. Yeah, and feels exactly the same. I agree. He definitely, and he does have a pole arm too, so that he has a similarity of that. I'm doing well, Morgan. So it's very possible Dan could be another incarnation of John Lee, or it could be the half Dan from Genshin Impact. Let's take a look at his trailer too.
Of 5 people, 3 must pay a price. You are not one of them. Jin Yuan. You are one of them.
The Xianzhou is in danger. This man, he...
The train is about to make the jump. Hold on, everyone.
How exciting is that? And you may have recognized the voice of one of the characters in there. That is Sino, the same actor who plays Sino in Genshin Impact. So he has been confirmed to be in there, as well as the voice actress who plays Rosaria in Genshin Impact. She is also going to be in this game as well. I don't know of any other actors from Genshin Impact yet, but at least we have 2 confirmed thus far that I'm aware of. So that is very exciting there too. Let's see, is there anything else that I can put in here as like a good, say, farewell one? Because I'm running out of videos to show, even though there are some other characters we can briefly go over, like Yang Ying and Bei Lu. But the ones that I really wanted to show, those ones have been able to show all about the game. So let's see if there is. Yeah, here we go. This one. Oh, that's a little short though. But this one's a real good one. Real good one for just like for showing for it's coming out on in just a couple days. It does say April 26th on the actual trailer itself. However, has been confirmed by Mihoyo as of last night that the game will be coming out on the 25th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is when the game will be first released on Tuesday night. So that it's going to be so fun. Nahida feels like she will be almost certainly show up eventually, maybe even as 2 characters since she voices Chi-Chi and Nahida. And 8 a.m. for you. Woo! Exciting there. Yeah, on the West Coast, getting to play it first thing in the morning. I really, really, really wish... Oh, 8 p.m. you mean? Yeah. I really wish that it had come out at like an earlier time just so I could do my very first stream on Tuesday. I mean, I technically could do it on Tuesday night, but I don't think that anybody would be in there at like 10 p.m. even though so I'll probably just wait until Wednesday stream to actually play that game so that everybody can enjoy and not have to go back and watch VODs or anything like that. So let me conclude with a little teeny tiny 16-second trailer of showing the game coming out on Tuesday. Bring this up, and here we go.
In an unknown universe, among the unknown stars, a new adventure awaits. A Hoyoverse space fantasy RPG, Honkai Star Rail.
And as mentioned in the beginning of the stream, it is now available to pre-download, so you can definitely be able to do that. Whoopsies, I got a commercial running in the background there. And it is available for preload, so you can go either through if you want to play it on your phone, you can go through the Android or the Apple Store. You can also go through, if you're on PC, you can go through the Epic Store to download it, or you can go through the Honkai Star Rail website itself and be able to download the game and have it all preload ready to go for Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I want to thank everybody. You went through the Star Rail. Yes, that's what I did too, because I prefer that with them. I know through Genshin Impact, they have it available on Epic, but it was, you want to get Saley from the first banner? Yeah, she's an awesome character. She and Bronya are definitely a pair, and I could definitely see why you'd want to get Saley. She's awesome, very, very awesome, and for me, I'm not sure what I'm going to do I'm probably going to go because I don't think Bailu is. I'm not sure if Bailu's going to be on the first banner or not. In the beta, we had like 5 different 5-star characters that we could will or wish for to get to play, and I don't know if they'll set it up that same exact way. If they do, I honestly want to get Bailu because Bailu really helped me. She's a healer, and my team got into a lot of trouble as I got progressed further after I got through, like, say, level 25-ish. I started getting into a lot more difficult characters and enemies, and Bailu really helped. So Bailu is a standard, and I think it's on the beginner banner. Oh, cool. Because, yeah, Bailu really, really helped me a lot. Though there is a character, Kafka, who is also a healer. She will be considered a 4-star character, and she will also be a free, as far as I'm understanding, she'll also be a free character that you'll be able to unlock, similar to how you can unlock Barbara in Genshin Impact. And yes, 50 stars for the first 5-star from beginner, from what you've heard. Yep, that is definitely confirmed. That is also because they've had so many pre-orders or pre-downloads of the game that they were able to give that as a thank you for getting involved in their game. And I know for myself, after beta testing it last year, it was a game that I know Weber talks about having a game like Genshin Impact is the game for him that makes him feel like he's back at home. For me, that is the Star Rail game. It even just downloading it last night and loading it and watching the train just going across the screen and having its having that, just I was like, oh, I can't wait to play this game. I'm at home now. Which in one of the trailers too, they mentioned that going home, which is one of the goals of really all these characters, is find their way back home. So thank you, everybody.